everyone, this is Warhawk Beyond 2040, and welcome to another edition of the Batman Beyond review series. And today I'm here once again to provide an audio commentary watch along for another episode from season 2. This time it's Hidden Agenda, one of my all-time favorites from the show's second season. And this episode is one of my favorites mainly because it introduced us to an important character who would go on to become Terry McGinnis's main ally, and she's actually gone down as one of my favorite characters from the entire Batman Beyond universe, and that is Max Gibson. Now, Max Gibson made her first appearance in this episode, and she was Terry McGinnis's classmates from Hamilton High. And what episode was this wasn't merely a throwaway episode where Terry's classmate learns the truth and she wants to be his sidekick sort of thing. I mean, obviously, she wants to be there for Terry, but not one of those silly girls who says, "Oh, you're Batman. This is so cool. That means I get to be Robin." No, she was nothing like that. She wasn't really a love interest for Terry, so it wasn't a case of now that she knows he's Batman, she's in love with him. No, it was quite the opposite. She is very tomboy, and not in the sense that she baggy trousers and wears rocker t-shirts and things like that. Not at all. She was a girl, but she was one of the boys, so to speak, one of the lads. And she was very much her own independent person. She didn't take any rubbish from anyone. If she wasn't happy about something or she didn't approve of Terry's actions or his behavior, she would speak her mind. And I think having someone like Max Gibson to play off with Terry McGinnis, I think worked really well for the show's dynamic because by this point now, we're in season 2 of Batman Beyond. You know, Terry McGinnis pretty much is on his own. He just takes orders from Bruce Wayne. Not in the sense like Dick Grayson or Tim Drake would take orders from Bruce. He is Terry's mentor. He's obviously been around much longer. He's got decades of experience in crime fighting. So he's more his mentor. So it's not a case of Bruce is the man and Terry's a sidekick. It was nothing like that. It was very much like a teacher and student relationship. But obviously, there's the father and son dynamic just right in the middle there somewhere. But for the most part, Terry was on his own, going to high school, trying to juggle his life as, a student and being a brother slash son, and of course, being the student of Bruce Wayne and being the boyfriend to Dana. So obviously, being a really young guy, he's got to juggle all of those things, but still go out and be Batman. And that's where Max came into it. So this was a very good episode, but this wasn't just about Max making her first appearance. What I liked about this episode, as we get ready to do this audio commentary watch along, she learns about Terry's secret, but it wasn't necessarily his secret about being Batman. It was quite the opposite. So that made for a very interesting take. And this also introduced us to another great villain, one that I really liked a lot. Very surprisingly, few appearances. I don't think they used him very much, and that is Terminal. Now, Terminal is the leader of a splinter group of the Jokers, and he had a very cool look. He looked like a cross between the Joker and Marilyn Manson. He had this long black hair, pale skin, and he wore these dark brown robes. And he would wear these dark brown rags, which looked very similar to what Jonathan Crane wore when he would become the Scarecrow. And his whole appearance reminded me a lot of a skeleton. He had this face which resembled a skull, and he looked like a member of Slipknot. That's probably the best way I could describe Terminal. He looked like this cyberpunk. He looked like he could have been out of a death metal band or something. And as I said, he kind of looked like a cross between Marilyn Manson and the Joker, and someone who could have been part of Slipknot. And he was a really good villain, incredibly evil and very sinister. And he had his own secret as well. He actually is a classmate of Terry McGinnis and Max Gibson. So that was quite an interesting dynamic. But I really liked Terminal. I thought he was a very good villain. Wish they used him a little bit more. I think he did make, I think, two appearances in the Batman Beyond tie-in run back in '99 to 2002, I believe, or might have been 2001, but it was somewhere around that time. I think he made like two more appearances in the second run back in the time when the show was being aired. And he was a really good villain. He looked like he could have been built up as maybe the show's big bad, but they didn't. And it's interesting, when I look at Terminal's appearance, you know, and I compare it to Ghoul, who was in Return of the Joker, look kind of alike. So it does make you wonder if there is some sort of connection to the Joker himself, but just pure speculation. But the hair, the pale skin, Ghoul and Terminal did look very much alike, but Ghoul was looking like a traditional Halloween scarecrow, which is awesome. Terminal looked more like something out of your worst nightmare. He looked like he could have come out of a horror movie. He just had a very sinister look. But I liked him. I thought he was a very good villain. I thought he crossed really evil in this episode, and this is one that I enjoyed a lot. I originally watched this episode back on CITV about 100 years ago. And I think this was one of the last episodes they aired on CITV before they took it down. Morons. But from what I remember, this was a very good episode. And when I did the rewatch of the whole series back in 2020 and I got to this episode, I remember it was very good. In fact, better than what I remembered. But Terminal, great villain, great look, just pure evil, just the way we like our Batman villains, but criminally underrated. And I know that word gets used quite often, underrated. Terminal was and still is very underrated, and I wished they used him a lot more because after Blight and Ink, obviously Ink does come back later on, we never really had big villains. Obviously, Spellbinder I would put in there as a third big threat, but and maybe Shriek as well. Blight, Ink, Spellbinder, and Shriek. They're like your four big bad villains. But after those guys, we never really had much else going on in the bad guy department. We'd have some good villains come in, maybe for one episode, and that would be it. We wouldn't really see much of them again. But I really like Terminal. I think Terminal showed a lot of promise and a lot of potential, but didn't get used enough. So anyway, with that all said, let's not waste any more time. Let's get straight into it. Let's talk and watch Hidden Agenda. Here we go. Three, two, one. Do 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 do. Here we go. So, hidden agenda. Max learns a big secret about Terry McGinnis. You know, with this episode, oh, by the way, awesome intro, never gets old. But anyway, the thing with this episode, what I remembered the most was, the way Max learned about Terry's secret was quite cool. It wasn't a case of she walks into the locker room and sees Terry standing there in the bat suit, which would have been incredibly stupid, by the way. Or it wasn't the fact that Terry turned around and said, "Yeah, okay, Max, you win. I'm Batman." She was pretty much figured it out on her own. Not in the way Tim Drake did in the comics, but just the way she learned about Terry's secret was quite interesting, I thought. So here we are. We are here. Oh, this is kind of like a callback to the first episode of the show, Rebirth, where the Jokers were on the, I'm guessing it's some sort of elevator, and there he is, Terminal. Just seeing him, he's just such a scary villain, and he hasn't even done anything yet. Obviously, he's doing something now, but yeah, he's just so sinister. So his Joker's gang, you've got his main girl there, who I'm guessing is inspired by Harley Quinn, which is quite interesting because all of the Jokers, they're inspired by the Joker, but I'm very surprised that we never really had a Harley Quinn type of inspired character in the game because Harley Quinn was a big part of the Joker's legacy. But yeah, it's just quite surprising. But at least we got one here. We've got a Harley Quinn inspired type of character. Oh, I like that. It's a cool throwback to Batman '89 with the teeth going. So that's quite cool. I like that. So these guys are the Jokers, but they're not necessarily connected to the Jokers that we've seen so far. This is kind of like a much more evil and darker entity, whereas the Jokers were just a bunch of kids just causing trouble. Terminal's gang, they're much more evil, which is understandable because of who they're taking orders from. Oh boy, this is quite a horrific start for a Batman episode. Oh, oh boy. Hell yeah. It's quite interesting that Terry's Batman operates in daylight, whereas Bruce's Batman predominantly operated at night. Although we did see him work in daylights when he was with the Justice League, but for the most part, he was always a night person. Terry's Batman is a bit more optimistic and colourful, where he can operate during the day and night. So that's quite cool. Okay, good start. I like how the Joker's pranked this guy, but it wasn't like pranking in the childish sense. This was done more to torture, so that was quite cool. Oh, brilliant start. Wow, he's definitely got that pale skeleton sort of look. Oh wow, don't ever question me again. Wow. Oh my gosh. Oh, oh thank God. I thought you actually offed him. Yeah, this is not your traditional Joker's leader. He's not necessarily happy-go-lucky. And there she is, my favourite character, Max Gibson. I love Bruce and Terry very much, but I like Max. She's cool. Got the pink hair, and she's a tomboy. She's just awesome. And I believe in the 2010 comic book run, just before it got cancelled, I believe, I mean, it's been a while since I've read the recent comic books from that run. I still have them, but I just haven't gone back to them in a while. From what I remember, she actually became Oracle Beyond, which was a nice payoff. I'm glad they didn't put a costume on her, which would have been great, don't get me wrong, but I'm glad that she didn't just put on the cape. They made her Oracle Beyond for Terry McGinnis. So I think that came about when Bruce disappeared and she just stepped into Bruce's position and assisted Terry while he was out on the field. So I thought that was a nice little payoff for her. And I think we do get to see her take on that role, kind of. Not necessarily in this episode, but I think like much later on in the show's run, we do kind of see her become like this Oracle Beyond type of figure. But she's great. I think Max Gibson is a great character, and I think out of all of the characters who are in Terry's circle, I think Max Gibson was probably the most well developed. You know, Dana Tan, great character, but yeah, they didn't really do a lot with her. Obviously, she had some episodes where she kind of was a prominent part of it, but yeah, they didn't really do a lot with her. But you know, in the comic books, she got a much bigger role, but in the show, she just came across as more or less a very generic girlfriend who would always complain about Terry not spending enough time with her. So in this episode, you know, everyone's checking their score rates called GAT. It's kind of funny. It's like our version of what we call in Britain SATs. So that's quite cool. Ah, so these guys, I'm guessing, are classmates of Terry. Ah, so we learn the identity of Terminal, whose real name is Carter Wilson. Now, when we first see Carter Wilson, he comes across as a quite a friendly guy. He's in the same class with Max, Dana, and Terry, and you think he's harmless, but underneath it all, he's got a very dark secret. He's the leader of the Joker's gang, or at least a version of that group. And it's quite an amazing twist. You know, you see this guy, you think, oh, he seems harmless enough, but you know, you could tell that he's quite a sinister person. So I thought this did a really good job in establishing, you know, Carter Wilson and Max Gibson for that matter. And, you know, I like how they did it. Introduced us to Terminal first. You think, oh, this guy's quite evil. Then you see what he's really like. You think, wow, quite the opposite. So this is where the episode gets really good. So there is a machine in Hamilton Hill High that can pretty much tell you about every student who goes to the school. And this is where Max really starts to put her detective head on and put two and two together. And Dana, of course, says, well, if Batman is a guy who's supposed to be around forever, wouldn't that mean he would be incredibly old? And Max says, you know what? I don't think it's the same person. I think it's a new Batman. I think he goes to our school. And you can see Terry looking really uncomfortable. But I thought this was really good because, you know, having one of Terry's classmates trying to figure out the identity of this legendary figure like Batman is quite entertaining because one of Terry's classmates would be the last person you would expect to figure out the identity of Batman. So Max is on a mission to try and find out who is the guy in their school who is really Batman. So Carter obviously didn't get top grades in the GATs. It's funny, isn't it? Here in the UK, I don't know if they still call it now SATs, but I think they still do. But here on the show, they call it GATs. So I think that's quite cool. Here we go. So this is where we kind of get to know Carter a bit more. So he's putting on his gear. Oh wow, wow, that's quite a spooky transition to go from nice guy Carter to evil Terminal. Yeah, here we go. So I think Carter wants to mess up the GAT scores. Perhaps he wants to give himself a better score. Maybe. Yeah. Oh man, he's just awesome. What a bad guy. Just should have been the main villain. With a bit more time, he could have been. I'll tell you something now. If the day we ever get a live action Batman Beyond movie, for the first movie, I would love them to use Terminal. I think that would be awesome. Not necessarily Blight. Maybe save Blight for the third movie. But for the first one, definitely go with this guy. I think Terminal is excellent. So Terminal's got his target, and that's Max Gibson. So as you can see, they've pretty much trashed the entire school. Nice. Well, it's not nice in that sense, but it's nice in the sense they really try to put Terminal over as a dangerous threat. But obviously, that was intended for Max. I have to give Max her props though. This is one of the things that won me over about her. She is incredibly fearless. She wasn't going to let someone like the Joker's stop her from getting to the truth. I love that Batmobile. So cool. If they had kept Bruce Wayne as Batman, I would have loved to have seen him driving that car all in dark red. I think that would have looked awesome, which would have been a cool nod to the Dark Knight Returns, I think. Yep. So there's Terminal. Yeah, just a brilliant villain. This is where things get really good now. So Terry's going after them. Oh, they've ditched you. You've lost them. Uh, oh yeah. Oh, wicked. I think I remember something like that in the animated series where Batman like shot a rope out of the Batmobile and it like tripped them up or something out of their car. I thought that was quite a good nod to that. Oh, here we go. Oh, oh boy. Why do you have her student card? Oh boy. Good stuff here. Oh dear. Batman's not happy. Don't you dare hurt her. So this is where Max learns the truth about Terry, but it's an interesting twist. She doesn't find out that Terry is Batman. She actually thinks that Terry is one of the Jokers, which I think is a really good twist. And Terry obviously is pleading that, look, I'm not part of the Jokers, I'm not the Jokers leader, but this is where I think Terry pretty much has to come clean and says, look, I'm not part of the Jokers, Max. You've got to believe me. So I thought that was a good twist. It would have been silly if she learned he was Batman straight away, but the fact that she thinks he's part of the Jokers is Really cool. Oh wow. Oh, run! Oh, yay! Dun, 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 dun. Batman's the rescue. Love it. Hey, wait! Come back! Gone. Classic. I love that. Classic Batman. He's there 1 minute and he's gone the next. Oh wow. I tell you what, these Jokers, they take no prisoners. Okay. Yeah, Terry's pretty much telling Max to drop this investigation. And she's like, all right, fine, I will. Now, this is where the good twist comes in. Yeah, she was trying to deduce who Batman really is. And the computer's like telling her about which student's got a secret. Oh boy. Oh, this should be good. Oh, I remember this. Who's got double lives? Uh, wow. Terry's part of the Jokers. Wow. I love how the printer prints out this sheet of students who live a double life in Hamilton Hill High, and Terry's name is right at the top. Wow. And Max is pissed and shocked because if you've learned that one of your classmates, who is also a friend, and you thought they were part of the Jokers, you wouldn't really know what to do. Yeah, Terry is concerned. Max is hurt, annoyed, and confused. So here we are. This episode really, I would say this is Max's episode because she was the most prominent character. And she sends Terry an email, meet me at the fountain park to discuss your secret life. Excellent. Just good stuff here. Oh, so obviously Max thinks Terry is terminal. Wow. Yeah, this was really good. As I said, I hadn't seen this in quite a while, but it was very good. This was a really good episode. Oh. See, this is the difference between Bruce and Terry. Bruce would just sleep all day until it's time to do his thing, but Terry just comes home from school. He's like, "Oh, I'm beat. I'm going to bed. Good night." Boom. Hey, Terry, you got an email from Dana? Oh, Matt. Uh, Scram Twip. I just realised that toy spaceship that Matt's playing with looks very similar to the same pod that brought Superman to Earth back in Superman the animated series. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but looked very similar. Oh boy. Holy cow. Whoever came out with Terminal's design, give that guy a pay rise. He just looks awesome. The pale skin, the black eyeliner, the long black hair. Oh, he just looks like a member of Slipknot. Or like a cross between Marilyn Manson and the Joker. Just really good. There we go. Sorry, Max, but that's not Terry. Oh, I like that. He's been standing there the whole time, and then he just waits for his cue. Goes, right, I'm coming in now. Get behind me. Okay. See, don't underestimate her, Batman. Max can hold her own. Oh, There we go. Yeah, Max ain't just a silly classmate. She knows how to hold her own. Bonk. Nice. Oh, well, didn't do much, but hey, worked for a second. Here we go. Whee! Max! Do-do, do-do, do-do. It's over, Batman. Surrender now, or the girl gets it. Hiya! Ooh. Oh. Oh, ow. Did one of his teammates just get crushed? Oh, oh, here we go. Now they learn the truth. Wow. Carter? You're the Jokers? You're one of the Jokers? Oh, wow. See? Yeah, even his own classmates think he's a bit of a loser. Wow. Yeah, this is it now. How could this computer get it so wrong? I really thought you were one of the Jokers. Now that I know your secret. Yeah. Oh, what are you going to do? This is where Max becomes Terry's ally. And I think it was good. I'm glad they didn't do this in season one. They just established Terry as Batman before bringing someone in on the secret. So I thought they did a really good job, and this was definitely worth it. And Max says, "Well, look, at least you're not alone. Someone to cover for you, someone to talk to when you need it." Yeah, cool. Oh, it's okay. Terry was babysitting Matt, and Dana's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realise. Yeah, little brothers can be a handful. We'll make up for it tonight. Promise." Awesome. Woohoo! My man. Yeah. See? Okay. You caught me, Robin. I'm out of here. No sweat. Alfred. Alfred? So obviously Terry must have known what happened to Alfred, but they never addressed it. And that wraps up my audio commentary watch along for Hidden Agenda, one of the best episodes of season two. No Bruce Wayne. I only just realised Bruce wasn't actually in this one, but that's okay. Kind of want to make it more about Terry. But yeah, very good episode. Loved it a lot. Loved how they introduced Max, and good twist in thinking that Terry was one of the Jokers. Very good stuff. Very enjoyable. And Max is not just some silly classmate. She's her own character, and she can hold her own. And like I said earlier, if anyone who's read the recent comic books from the 2010 run, yeah, she kind of becomes like Oracle Beyond in a way. So, yeah, really enjoyed this one a lot. And Max Gibson would go on to have a much bigger role throughout the rest of season two and season three as well. But I really like this one a lot. And Terminal, great villain. Wish they used him more. I thought he was really cool. But nothing bad to say about this episode. Everything was good, And I thought the way Max figured out who Terry really was quite interesting. It's quite clever. Coming up with things like this can be tough, but I thought what they came up with for this one was very well executed. So anyway, that's going to be it from me. I'm going to wrap this up now. What was your thoughts on Hidden Agenda? Did you enjoy it? what was your impression of Terminal? Do you think he was a good villain? Do you think he should have been used more in the show? And did you like the fact that he was one of Terry's classmates? And also, what was your thoughts on Max learning Terry's secret? Do you think that was very clever? Do you think they could have done it in a different way? Or were you happy with what we got? You know what to do, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts and comments down below. And I will see all of you next time for another edition of the Batman Beyond review series, where I will be back providing an audio commentary watch along for another episode from season 2. And this time it's going to be Bloodsport. So make sure you don't miss that. So until next time, take care, everybody, and stay safe. And once again, as always, much appreciated. Thanks for listening.